my people. All right, my people. How's everybody doing?
Fine.
Pretty
Good,
good.
Doing
good,
good.
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 Welcome to our monthly financial wellness ministry conversation, to where we make sure that we put information in front of our people so that we can make sure that we're financially healthy. And so everybody that's watching on social media, I need you all to do me a favor. If you can go ahead and share the post, I would appreciate it a whole lot. And so if you're watching on social media, go ahead and share this post so that our viewership can go up and as many people as possible can get this good information that we have prepared for you. I'm going to now place you in the hands of our very capable coordinator of our financial wellness ministry, Kiera Hall.
Hello, hello. Good evening,
Good
everyone. Thank you
evening.
for joining.
Hello.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. We have a guest speaker today, and I'm going to introduce him. Um, it seems like he is in the waiting room. He was just in the meeting, so I think there's just like a little bit of technical difficulties because it's saying he's joining. But I'm going to go ahead and do an introduction, and then I will just start off. If there's a little bit of delay, I'll just start off with a discussion topic that we can just talk on as he is accessing the room. So today we're going to get to hear from a phenomenal guest speaker by the name of Chris Harmon. And Chris Harmon has a strong background in coaching, marketing, and recruiting. He's also licensed in both real estate and insurance, and he is the owner and founder of 352 Hauling Crew, which is a junk removal and demolition company. And then lastly, he's also an executive board member and fleet manager for Truck Game, a local semi company. So today we're going to get to hear from him. And actually, I see he's messaging me and showing he is saying he got kicked out of the meeting. Let me try to get him this link again. But while I try to help him get back into the meeting, the topic is think bigger, faster. And so when you hear think bigger, faster, I'm curious. So what comes to mind when you hear think bigger, faster? What do you think Chris is going to be talking about today? And while we're discussing, I'm going to try to help him get back in because he's sending me a picture of his computer screen.
So my thoughts are is that normally when we think about growth and we think about obtaining more and excelling, normally we think about it taking time and so just being patient and it takes time and kind of moving real methodically. And so when I think of that, I think of possibly a way of approaching growth and a way of approaching it to where it might move a little faster than we might traditionally think it might move.
Yes, I think that is exactly it. One of the biggest things that I was sharing with Chris, and I see he's on now, so I'm gonna be turning it over to him shortly. But one of the biggest things I was sharing with him is our mission as a church, to build upon the congregation spiritually, so that we're thriving our relationship with God, mentally, financially, and like the whole person, not just like one piece. And so I hope that today, as you hear Chris speak, that it would just inspire you, and that it would encourage you, because Chris, his story and where he's come from and where he is now is truly a testimony of triumph. It's a testimony of like hard work and perseverance. And it's just really exciting because I've known him for some years. And so it's exciting to see him on his journey and to see him shining and growing and his business is flourishing. And so I'm really looking forward to hearing this coaching from him and being able to have this dialogue and conversation about thinking bigger, faster. So Chris, are you connected? Okay. Uh-oh, it seems like there may be a bit of an internet issue. Oh, hello, hello. So I think we have a bit of an internet issue. Please give me just a second. Yeah, we have a little bit of an internet issue. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in this space with the topic and what we talked about, and still, stick to that topic, and then we can have a discussion. So I am going to play a video for us, and then we'll have a discussion on that video, but it's going to be on the topic of Think Bigger, Faster, unless Chris is connected, then I won't jump in. But it seems like the internet connection is really bad. Let me text them. Okay. So let's see. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to let us, be able to go through a video and fill this topic. We might not be able to hear from Chris today. So sorry about that. It seems like there's an internet issue. So I am going to go ahead and play, and then we'll have a discussion still on the topic of Think Bigger, Faster, because I think it was a great topic that Chris wanted to share on, but we might not be able to hear from him today. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
Why does it feel like they're...
And I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then this
Getting successful, whatever you consider successful, if it's rich, whatever, it's not a magic trick. It's not God picks certain people he'll make rich and certain people he don't. He gives all of us the power of choice. You have a say-so in that. You can decide to be rich, and with God's help, it's highly doable. But you first have to think it. I'm no better than none of y'all. I'm not a better person than you. I'm not a better Christian than you. God don't love me more than you. None of that. What makes it hard is your lack of belief that it can happen for you. The fact of it is, though, it's very doable. But you got to change, though. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else. This decision is yours and yours alone. It's two people born in a hospital every day. It's a person that's born in a hospital that's going to get a job, and somebody born in a hospital that's going to give them a job. Somebody born in a hospital that's going to give them a job. You get to decide. You get to decide. Which one you're going to be. You get to decide. Let me tell you something. You get to decide if I'm going to be rich, poor, mediocre, plentiful, happy, sad. You have a decision to make. You have to live your life with the expectation that great things are coming your way. A man is as he thinketh. God thought of this world. He thought of it, so he created it. That your thoughts can create things. Now, you can't go make earth and heaven like he did, but you can make a better world for yourself. When you ask God for something, he sends it, he ships it immediately. Soon as you ask him something, you really believe he'll do it, he boxes it up and he ships it to you immediately. The problem with the package is he never gives you the date that the package is going to arrive. The problem is people stop waiting on the package. Then when it get to you, because he delivers only to Faith Street, when he delivers to you on Faith Street, but you done stepped off of Faith Street, you over here on I Don't See How Circle, he don't ship there. Instead of staying on Faith Street, you done stepped over here to I Don't Believe It Boulevard, or It Took Too Long Avenue. Then the package come to Faith Street. It's just like the post office and FedEx. If you ain't there to receive it, it gotta go back. That's how it works, man. You have control of this. This belongs to you. This is yours. You're the captain, you're the master, you're the foreman, you're the general, you're the head. Don't give control of this to nobody, especially the devil. Do not let Satan come in here and function and operate, because he has one mission: to keep you off course, to make you not think it's possible, to make you think that God don't hear you. His job is only to destroy you, to make sure that you don't become what God intended for you to become. That's the mission of the devil. Now, if you don't believe in the devil, this conversation ain't for you. If you don't believe in God, this conversation ain't for you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people who are spiritually based. Once you get this, y'all, you can change everything. Do you understand? Negativity, let me just give you this and I'm gonna walk away. Negativity, you can protect yourself from negativity. And that's what stops most people, negative thoughts. You can coat your mind from negativity. It's a real simple exercise to do. I do it every morning before I walk out the door. So I walk out as a positive person. You know, I get tired sometimes. That's different from being negative, because I get mentally drained from my job at times. But to coat your mind from negativity, the way you can put a coating around your mind is with one simple thing: gratitude. Gratitude erases negativity. I'm gonna show you how this works. If you wake up in the morning and you start having negative thoughts, man, this ain't my day. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm tripping, I just don't feel myself. Every time you feel, in the middle of the day, if you feel yourself doing that, stop, just stop for a second. And start going over in your mind everything you have to be grateful for. Not everything you want, everything you already have, because what you have is substantial. You just haven't gone over the list and taken inventory in a long time. But the fact that you can walk, that's a blessing. The fact that you woke up, that's another blessing. The fact that you can see, think, reason, that's another blessing. The fact that you can go somewhere and get yourself something to eat, that's another blessing. The fact that you can go and turn the key and call someplace home, that's another blessing. The ability to dream is a blessing. The fact that you have an opportunity to get it right is another blessing. The fact that you're beautiful, that's another blessing. The fact that you have any measure of health, that's another blessing. And I'm just talking to you, I don't even know you. I could give you 50 things you ought to be grateful for right now. I don't even know you. Start coating your mind with gratitude. It'll change everything for you. God is good, man.
All right, perfect timing. Chris is back. Chris is back. Let me reintroduce him one more time and stop sharing. I decided to play that video because Chris came up with the amazing topic of think bigger, faster. So I was like, I saw this video from Steve Harvey that was about thinking bigger, faster, and I just thought that was so powerful. And so now, once again, I want to turn it over to Chris, who has a strong background in coaching, marketing, and recruiting, licensed and familiar in, real estate and the insurance industry, like the biggest financial industries in the world. Business owner of 352 Hauling Crew, dealing with residential and commercial clients, and just really, serving the community and just taking off, doing a great job in his hauling business. And last but not least, he's a board member and fleet manager for Truck Game. And so I say all this to share that, if you have a notepad, take some notes. I think you're going to get some gems, some nuggets. This is going to be a really good conversation on Think Bigger, Faster. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Chris Harmon to lead the discussion and to just share some thoughts and just share what's on his heart to help us grow and to help us to thrive financially. So Chris, I'm turning it over to you.
All right, perfect. Kiara, can you hear me?
Yes, great.
All right. And I apologize to everybody. I don't know what was going on with my internet. It was tripping. So I had to get off of the internet and get in my car. And I'm basically on my cellular Wi-Fi. And so I'm glad that I was able to jump in and use a cell phone. So thank God for technology. But anyway, I'm going to jump straight into this. Start by just sharing with everybody the backstory for those of you who may not know me. And I want to start at the age of 24 years old. So at the age of 24, by the grace of God, I bought my first home. That was a very cool thing. I had been married about 3 years, got married, I was 21, bought the first house at age 24. And then the only negative thing is that I lost that house at age 34. Okay, so 24, bought my first house. 34, we lose that house. 34 years old, we had creditors and banks trying to sue us, like left going right. And so we had to do what's called a deed in lieu. We basically signed our home back over to the investment bank in lieu of foreclosure. All right. And so for anybody that's ever gone through that process, very painful, very draining, super aggravating process. And they did something called a cash for keys. Cash for keys is when you're getting ready to lose that home and you sign it over. Long as you don't damage any of the structure, the pipe and plumbing, all that stuff, they basically pay you to leave the house peacefully. All right. So here I am, 34 years old. We do a cash for keys. My wife and kids, myself, have no place to stay because I end up having to file bankruptcy. In the process of filing bankruptcy, here I am, 34 years old. Me, my wife, 3 kids. We end up staying with my wife's best friend for about 7 months. So it's 6 people in a 600 square foot home. 1 bathroom, 1 bedroom. My wife's best friend was sleeping in her living room on the couch. My kids were sleeping on the floor. And the young lady, who's my wife's best friend, she allowed me and my wife to sleep in her bedroom. And that's went on for 7 months. Now, mind you, while all this is going on, I'm licensed in real estate. I'm licensed in insurance. And so the thoughts that are going through my mind is that I know way too much to be in this situation. However, I still found myself in that situation. And so I share some of that to say this. By the grace of God, I'm in a very different situation now. And as many of you can see, I'm still fairly young. Everything I'm sharing with you that happened with that experience coming through the bankruptcy, so on and so forth, that was about 4 years ago. For anybody that knows me, I'm a very direct and transparent person. And so I share that with you to say this. I know what it is to have perfect credit at 24, and I know what it is to have horrible credit at age 34. August the 9th, I'll be 38 years old. So everything I'm sharing with you happened almost about 4 years ago. And by the grace of God, we went from that situation to here we are today. This past month, I've been able to estimate over $50,000 of demolition work for my company. And so I don't say that to boast or to brag. I don't say that to impress you, but more so just to impress upon you the information I'm getting ready to share. If you're willing to take notes on it, by God's grace, it will radically transform some things for you very, 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 very fast. And so I'm not going to spend a long time as we go through it. I want to hit these topics very, very softly. And I'm going to start by doing this. I'm going to give you 5 bulletin points on thinking bigger, faster. I'm going to give you the 5 bulletin points first. And after I give you the 5 bulletin points, we'll cover them just a little bit. I'm going to pass it to Kiera, and we can open it up for discussion. So number 1, the first concept on thinking bigger, faster is leadership. So if you have a pen and a pad, I want you to write down leadership. That's bulletin point number 1. Bulletin point number 2 is vision. Bulletin point number 2 is vision. So as it relates to thinking bigger, faster, you want to think about your leadership. Number 2, vision. All right. Number 3, there's a principle called planting your flag. Planting your flag. For number 3, write down those words, planting your flag. And number 4, fourth bulletin point and concept as it relates to thinking bigger, faster, is called the movement of money. We're going to discuss the movement of money. And then the last one, write this down, becoming super resourceful. This is the last bulletin point we'll discuss, and is becoming super resourceful. Kara, did you get all the bulletin points, or you need a quick second to put them into the chat for everybody?
I'm already ahead of you. I just put it in the chat.
All right, perfect.
As you were speaking, I did it, and it's on the Facebook chat too.
All right, perfect. So we're gonna start with leadership. All right. So as I shared with you, going through that experience, being licensed in real estate, licensed in insurance, and buying a home at 24, losing a home at 34. You can have feelings of shame and feelings of regret. I had all of those feelings, but more importantly, I had the faith and the willingness to know that I would come out on the other side in victory. All right. And so I share that to say this. By the grace of God, part of how I was able to overcome was 2 very important mentors of mine that taught me about thinking bigger, faster while I was going through those darkest days of losing a home at 34 that I bought at 24. All right. And so I had one mentor, his name is Josh Rogers. He taught me about leadership, organization, team building, and developing people. I had another mentor, a gentleman by the name of Jefferson Green, and he taught me about building explosive businesses through massive action. And so I'm going to share a little bit of both of those methods as we talk about the concept of thinking bigger, faster. And we're going to start with leadership. I want you to write this statement down as it relates to your leadership statement. Your leadership and your income will have a head-on collision. They won't miss each other. I'm going to say that statement again. Your leadership and your income will have a head-on collision. They will not miss each other. I'm going to give you a quick second to write that down. Your leadership and your income will have a head-on collision. They won't miss each other. What does that mean? My mentor told me, he said, Chris, he said, in the midst of everything that you're going through, he said, you got to increase your leadership. Increasing your leadership is simply increasing your awareness. It's increasing the value that you bring to the market. When you increase your leadership, you systematically begin to increase your income. Increasing your leadership is simply you becoming bigger than every obstacle in front of you. Increase your leadership. A couple examples of that. When you think about the highest paid person in the state, across almost every state in the United States, in most cases, it's the head football coach or the head basketball coach. That's the highest paid state employee. I submit to you that person, he or she, is not receiving that paycheck just because they're in the athletic department. The reason the universities are paying the person at that kind of caliber is because they're not just paid to watch over athletics. They're creating revenue not only for that university, but for the entire city. that individual in that position is creating revenue for the whole state. All right. So that level of leadership has a lot to do with that level of income. And that's across the board in any system, in any situation. Leaders are people who take a high level of responsibility. The same is true with personal income. You increase your leadership, you increase your skill set, your income and your leadership will have a head-on collision. Number two, speaking about vision, write this statement down for your vision statement. Vision gives clarity and acceleration towards the known goal. Vision, it gives clarity and acceleration towards the known goal.
The known goal, KNOWN?
Yes, yes, sir, the known goal. Vision gives clarity and acceleration towards the known goal. Here's another statement about vision. Vision is knowing what you want. The writer in the book of Habakkuk says, write the vision and make it plain. Give clarity to it. Vision is knowing what you want. Here's the cool thing about vision. Once you write down your vision and you know what you want, more importantly, it keeps you away from things that you don't want. Vision, it's knowing what you want. More importantly, it's knowing what you don't want. Vision creates restraints. Vision gives you the ability to employ systems. If you're taking notes, you want to write that statement down. Vision will give you the ability to employ systems. Systems allow you to think bigger, faster. Now you're getting more done in a short amount of time. That's called the law of compression.
Come here.
Did somebody just ask a question or something? Or that was just background noise?
Background.
Okay, thank you. All right.
So vision gives you the wisdom to, what was that last statement?
So with vision, let me go back. Vision is knowing what you want, but vision is also knowing what you don't want.
Right. And then it creates restraints. And then it says,
yes.
Then you say vision gives you the something to implement systems or something like that.
Yeah. So vision gives you the ability to employ systems.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right. Next concept on thinking bigger, faster is planting your flag. The principle of planting your flag. What does that mean? So, and I want to say this too as I speak about this. Everything I'm finna share is not specific to just business and money or being an entrepreneur.
Right.
A lot of this is across the board, whether a person wants to be a business owner or not. Everybody doesn't want to be a business owner. Everybody doesn't have a desire to be a millionaire, and that's fine. Everybody, however, should, I would think most sane people that don't want to be a business owner, they may not want to be a millionaire, they also don't want to be broke. All right? So even if you are a person who says, you know what, I like my career and I want to stay in a career system, I don't want to own a company, this cross applies on both aspects. All right? So planting your flag is this. For example, if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, what you got to understand is this. Planting your flag is basically mastering the art of marketing. You're going to master the art of marketing if you are a business owner or entrepreneur. All right? I got good news for you. If you're not a business owner or entrepreneur, you say, you know what? No, I like the career path. That's good as well. All right? So again, planting your flag is mastering the art of marketing. And here's why. Write this statement down. People who need what you got, they must know that you exist.
Right.
People who need what you got, they must know that you exist. So planting your flag, again, on the business end, the marketing end, the entrepreneurial end, people must know that you exist in order to make transactions or spend money with you. Let's say you're that person, you're more so career driven. You're not looking to say, you know what? I'm not looking to advertise. I'm not looking to market in that way. Well, here's what you got to do. You still got to plant your flag. So if you're that career-driven person and you want to work within the framework of a company, planting your flag is knowing how to self-promote. And I want you to write that statement down. How to self-promote. Thinking bigger, faster is an inside game. Self-promoting simply means this. I'm developing me on the inside so that all of the who's who that are in my company, that I work inside this company, this corporate spot, whether it's state, whether it's county, whether it's school board, wherever I'm working inside this corporate framework, I'm developing me on the inside so the people who are leading this company, they can be attracted to my leadership on the outside. And now, again, you're planting your flag. You have to know how to self-promote if you want to work within the framework of a company. And you say, you know what? I want to be in this company, but I'm not trying to get the smallest paycheck. I want to increase my paycheck where I'm at, but I have no ambitions on starting a business. That's fine. You still got to plant your flag. Thinking bigger, faster. All right. Next bulletin point. This is the movement of money. Write this statement down. Your mouth controls the movement of money either towards you or away from you. Your mouth controls the movement of money. Your mouth is either moving money towards you or moving money away from you. I'm going to say it again. Your mouth controls the movement of money. Unfortunately, whether a person's on the entrepreneurial side of things or whether a person is working within the framework of a corporate company, people don't understand that your mouth is controlling your elevation or your devastation forever and always. The Bible says it like this: out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth does speak. So in other words, the mouth is going to speak whatever's in the heart the most. If you're the person and you work within a company or you work at your job and you say, can't stand my job, can't stand my boss, can't stand the employees, can't stand my employee friends, husband, wife, cat, dog, so on and so forth, we call that water cooler talk. The person at the water cooler talking negative never gets promoted. You can't be a water cooler person and get the biggest check in the internet.
Good stuff.
Yeah, you cannot be the water cooler person. You want to be the person that brings ideas. You want to be the person that brings value. You can't be the water cooler person. So with your mouth, you're either bringing money to you or you're pushing money away from you. Then the last principle on thinking bigger, faster is becoming super resourceful. Becoming super resourceful. I want you to write this down. There's something called the law of reciprocity. And don't ask me how to spell it because I don't know. But I know what it means. The law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity simply means that you're doing things for mutual benefit. It's things that benefits you, but it also benefits the other party equally. The law of reciprocity. What you're doing benefits you, but it also benefits the other party equally. All right? So when you're becoming super resourceful, it means to be an expert in two spaces. I want you to write that down. Become an expert in two spaces. Number one, you want to be an expert in your field. Whatever field you're in, whether you're running a company or you're working within a company, make a decision to be an expert in your space. Number two, you want to be the person that's connecting other people if you know somebody that needs something you don't do. You want to have a vendor list. When you become the person that's always connecting other people to their needs, there's a famous statement that was written by Zig Ziglar. People said all across the world. You may have heard it, you may not have heard it. But if you help enough people get what they want, you get to get what you want. Becoming super resourceful. Here's another statement I want you to write down about becoming super resourceful. When you become super resourceful, you'll never have to look for money. Money will always look for you. When you become super resourceful, you will never have to look for money. Money will always look for you. With that being said, I'm going to pass it back to Kiera, Pastor Ron, and we can open it up for the next part of the discussion.
That was good. That was really good. I got all those notes, shared it on the chat for everybody too. That was powerful. Thank you so much, Chris, for putting that together and like taking your time to share that with us, because honestly, what you share is life-changing. What you share is like the key to us being able to reach anything we want in life. Like all of that was so solid. Like it was extremely impactful. So what I want to do now is just open up the door. Does anybody have any questions for Chris or any comments or anything? The floor is open now for any questions or comments. And I'll be watching social media to see if anybody's asking questions on there as well.
Yeah, even though we're talking about financial health, when I look at these 5 points, they really and Chris kind of mentioned it in the beginning. They really apply to many areas as it relates to being successful. And so, even as a leader of a church, where where profit might not be our priority. It is a focus that we are able to be a resource even financially for our community, but it might not be a priority. But in operating and growth, when I look at leadership, vision, planting your flag, when I look at all these things, there's so many other areas to where for people that are watching, there's so many other areas that it applies to. And then in the end, when you apply these things, they seem to also improve your financial condition because you're increasing your health. But I guess one question that I had was this leadership. Is it an innate, or is it something that can be developed in people that might not appear to have the drive? They might want success, but maybe not have the discipline or the drive to be this type of leader that's visionary. Can it be developed, or is it innate?
That's a great question, Pastor Ron. Phenomenal question. And I would like to lean on the Bible as we navigate through that particular question. When we think about the book of Habakkuk and God is dealing with Prophet Habakkuk, Habakkuk's in a desolate land, and he's in a place where everybody in the culture is doing things that are very opposite of the things of God. And so when we get to that famous part of the scripture where it talks about write the vision, make it plain, so on and so forth, one of the things that God tells the prophet, he says, write the vision and make it plain so that the reader can run. And so I want to answer your question by saying this. Running belongs to readers. Running belongs to readers. So leadership can be developed. So, for example, using my backstory and looking at what God told Habakkuk, he told him to write this vision upon tablets so that the reader can run. Mm-hmm. All right? I sit here as a man by the grace of God. I'm built a company very, very fast, and we grew to 6 figures in lightning speed. I have absolutely no college degree. I have absolutely no high school diploma. I didn't even get my middle school diploma. So the Bible says that God will take the foolish things and confound the wise. Mm-hmm. When I was working at the Walmart distribution center for 10 years, before I ever became a full-time entrepreneur, they put me in a leadership through progression program. That's a management program where they take you as a mentee. They believe you can be a junior or senior leader at the plant at some point, and they put you with an operational manager, and that person mentors you. I was in the mentorship program on my way to be a manager, and they thought I had a college degree. And so they asked me to bring in my college degree and my high school diploma, and I said, man, I ain't got neither one of them. Mm-hmm. And so, long story short, I was 23 years old, and I went to school and finished my GED so I could continue to stay in the mentorship program.
Right.
And so I say all that to say this. I don't have a lot of formal education. However, what I learned from other people that mentored me and taught me things, and what I learned from the Bible, it still developed in me what I didn't have along the way based upon my choices, not to finish or not to continue school. I was still able to develop, and anybody else can too.
So what I hear you saying is that no one has a valid excuse for failure, that everyone
Yes, sir.
has, that doesn't matter the system, doesn't matter the society, everyone has an opportunity to become this leader that you're talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think that's something that needs to be really presented to our community, because although it appears that we have valid excuses, they're obstacles, but from what you're saying is they're not excuses to not excel or not achieve. They're just obstacles.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chris, I have a question. When you talked about vision, it's a two-way question kind of. One is like, how can someone get clarity on the vision? Like, how do they know, like, what is the vision? Like, where do they get that from? What are your tips on that? And then the second part of the question is, you said vision gives you the ability to employ systems, and I didn't quite understand that. So I want you to expand on that some more and like really help me understand about what you mean by employ systems.
That's a phenomenal question. So to the first part of your question on how do you get the vision, one of the best examples I could use is you think about the book of Hebrews, and it talks about follow those through who faith and patience have inherited the promises. So you find somebody that have what you want. And I like answering this question in this way. That doesn't mean you change your value system.
Right.
When you find people in the earth who have what you want, you don't change your value system. You're simply gleaming from the principles that they use. You're not trying to be who they are. You be who you are, and you take on other principles that have created massive success. And so, for example, let's say that if I met this guy who was a painter, and he's living in the kind of neighborhood I want to live in, he's able to send his kids to the kind of college I want to send my kids to, he was able to retire his wife early. That doesn't mean that my assignment is to be a painter. Doesn't mean that God is telling me, oh, maybe I should be a painter. No. I need to find out what were the systems he used to grow himself to that level. Or what were the systems that she used, whoever you may be following, to grow themselves to that level. I don't have to do exactly what they're doing, but I need to find somebody in the earth that has the results that I want. And now I can start to tailor my own vision because I need your principles. I don't need your lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? We all got our own thumbprints. And I like to share that in that way because I think sometimes like I said, you brought up a very good question. When a person doesn't have vision, they'll go after anything that's moving. And that's where things get very dangerous. Mm-hmm. If you don't have vision, but you're saying, you know what, I want to grow. I want to do better. I want to elevate from where I'm at right now. Well, find somebody that has what you do want, and then you find the ways that their characteristics and what God has blessed them with, find the parts of their life that are applicable to what you're doing in your individual journey. And now you can begin to tailor your own vision. And the cool thing about, again, going back to the book of Habakkuk, when God tells the prophet, write the vision, make it plain, when you begin to write, God will begin to reveal. So if a person would simply sit down and start writing out what's in their heart, what's in their mind, what they want, as you're writing, the Spirit of God will begin to reveal to you. And the more you write, the more you'll read. And the more you read, the more you'll write. So it's a process. And I think the biggest thing that people have to get over as it relates to developing a vision, they simply have to get started and don't be mindful that I don't know everything yet. That's fine. You still got to pull the trigger on getting started. Direction comes to those that are moving. So as you start moving, more insight, more clarity, more vision will come. Again, direction comes to those that are moving. You'll never get direction standing still. Second part of your question, Kiara, I would answer it like this. As it relates to vision, giving you the ability to employ systems, whenever, just like your father pastoring the church, whenever you start taking the insight and the oversight of helping other people and dealing with other people and still being a person in and to yourself, the only way you're going to accomplish something great with other people, you better start putting systems in place. If not, the weight of the journey will kill you. That's why when you deal with Moses speaking to his father-in-law, he told him, hey, bro, you better put some lieutenants in place. You can't keep going before God one by one for all this great company of people. You got to employ systems. For example, like Pastor Ron said, if we take this off of money and we think about the concept of thinking bigger, faster. Let's say if I want to lose weight, all right? And let's say hypothetically, I got a wife and 10 kids. And so I'm always working. I'm working 3 jobs, but I want to lose weight. I got to employ a system to get to my next goal.
Right.
Because no matter what I do, I'm still going to have my wife and my 10 kids. I still got my 3 jobs right now. So I better start employing some systems that will allow me to ease the journey and accomplish my goal. That can only be done through vision. You got to write it and then make it plain. What does that mean? God is telling the writer to write it and then rewrite it. And that's how you develop that vision.
Wow.
That's good.
And you said so vision creates restraint.
Yes,
and it not only tells you what to do, but vision tells you what not to do, what not to touch, what not to get involved with. And you mentioned about you connect yourself with people. You might not want what they have, but you want to begin to understand how they achieved it, what kind of systems they put in place. But it sounds like you're saying also it's just as important to know who not to, and in life, certain people that we have to deal with because we might be the one helping them. But we have to be sure that we are not being poured into by people that don't have what we're trying to. We can help them as a mentor, but if we begin to depend on them, sounds like you're saying that might be dangerous. And so we have to be able to create those restraints of what not to allow to pour in, what spirit that we don't allow to pour into us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow. And I think that's so important because sometimes we try to help people, and especially when I think of people that I deal with that even deal with relationships, sometimes we feel like we're God, and if I pull back, this person will somehow cease to exist or cease to be able to excel if I pull back, and I think knowing that there are limitations to even what I can offer, but if I grab a hold of that anchor, I might not be able to swim good enough to keep myself afloat if I grab a hold of that anchor.
Yes, sir.
And that's where trust comes in. Some things I'm just gonna have to trust God for. But my vision, this vision that you're talking about, this vision keeps me focused to where I'm not reaching everywhere trying to do everything, but everything I'm doing is directed towards this vision.
Absolutely. And to your point, Pastor Ron, that's where systems are so important. One of the things I do in my current business right now, I have 2 calendars. So I have a calendar that I have in my phone that kind of keeps me mindful of what I'm doing with the day-to-day while I'm out and about. But I have a physical, old school written calendar that's right by my bedside because I got to employ systems in order to go to the next level. If I don't employ systems, I will only remain where I'm currently at. But the moment I start to employ systems, I'm allowed to see clearly how to continue moving on down the road. You got to employ systems.
I would encourage anybody that's on to start talking. I got a million questions, and I'll take over this thing. because this brother's giving some good stuff. So y'all better step up and say something, because I got a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah, Brother Chris.
Yes, sir.
I like one part you were saying about money will follow you. And where I laid down, I wasn't going to say, but since they went inside of the church with it, I was saying that was a good point you made, because the church, when we deal with the church and money will follow you, that's the resources that you were saying, that we provide all kind of resources in the church for this and for that and that. And when you say money will follow you, people will invest in that if you got the resources out there for people. And
Yes,
sometimes
sir.
you can just be sitting there and somebody come and say, hey, I want to donate this. I see what you're doing with those kids. I see what you're doing with this here. I see you feeding the hungry. And here go five. You know, the money will follow you if you have the resources there. And I just tied that little piece in with the church,
Yes,
because at the end of the day, the church is run like a company, but it's
Yes.
a company of soldiers for the Lord. And
Yes,
I had to tie that. I wasn't going to say it because I was trying to see where it was going. I just wanted somebody to say church, and that let me in. And I just wanted to thank you for that revelation on that, because it is so true. If you got the resources in your church, you don't have to worry about money. You don't have to worry about going out asking for things. People will come to you if you got things what people need.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
That men will give unto your bosom. If we
Yes,
learn
sir.
to give, we learn to be a resource in the church for the community. Find what the community is lacking, and know what fits our vision, and we provide those resources, and then people will give unto us to ensure that we can continue being a resource to the community, and we don't have to kill fish and chicken, trying to nickel and dime my way.
Yes, that's right.
You said this is Sister Thompson. You mentioned about mastering the art of marketing. Does that mean that we have to go and take classes?
It depends on who you are. So what I say that to say this: if classes is what a person needs, I think that they should enroll and take them. And then sometimes you don't need a class if you're around the right company of people, depending on what you're doing. So think about this. When you think about marketing is simply people knowing what it is that you offer, you bring to the table. You're bringing a strong awareness to what it is that you have to offer, whatever that may be, because people can only do a transaction with you if they know you exist. If a person does not know you exist, it's impossible for them to do a transaction with you. And so think about Jesus. I would like to use Jesus as a good example. Jesus was a master at marketing. All right. You think about this. He finished his ministry 33 and a half years, right? Mm-hmm. And most scholars believe that his public ministry was only 3.5 years old. He got the 12 disciples together, and the Bible says these 12 have turned the known world upside down. Well, how did that happen? Whenever Jesus would heal somebody, he would often say to them, be it done unto you according to your faith. But then he makes this next statement, which is very interesting. He would tell the person, go and see that you tell no man. Jesus knew good and well, if he called somebody armed to stretch back, he called somebody that was blind to see. If they was dumb and they left his presence, they could talk. And he then tell them, see that you go and tell no man. Mm-hmm. Jesus knew that they was going to go and tell everybody. Despite him making that statement. And so my point is this. Even in reading the Bible, Jesus makes this statement and he says, if you follow me, I'll make you fishers of men. So marketing is simply your ability to, again, you raise up your leadership in whatever you do, whether it's working in a company or running your own company. If we would increase our leadership, we simply start to increase the attraction of men and women towards us. It's a law. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's all marketing is.
Sister Thompson, Sunday night, I was before I went to bed, as I was getting ready to go to bed, it was about 9 o'clock, and so I was, looking at some things on Facebook, and I saw this video. I had just talked with my sons, and said, hey, we got to find some time. Earlier that day, I just talked to my sons and said, hey, we need to find some time because we have to go and clear out a house that I own that I grew up in. We have to go and clear that house out so that we can get it ready to renovate it at the beginning of the year. And so I was just looking at a video, probably trying to catch up on my Country Wayne videos or something. And I saw this video of this guy in this. I mean, it was it was a filthy place, and he was getting ready to go and but he had a positive attitude and was like, "This is what I'm about to do, and this is what it's gonna look like. I'm telling you before I even finish it, what it's gonna look like. I'll let you see the results afterwards, not even doubting what he does." And so I sat there and looked at that video he walked through. And then so I shot him a message. I was like, hey, I think I need you at 2203. And so this was 9 o'clock at night, Sunday night. Immediately I get this text message, and text message says, hey, Pastor Rawls, and I never even knew this guy. I say, hey, Pastor Rawls, this is Chris Harmon, and I'm when do you want to talk? I mean, the best ability is availability. When do you want to talk? And I was like, hey, I can call you now, but it's 9, or I can call tomorrow. He was like, we can talk now. And so that night, within 15 minutes of me seeing the video, because he marketed himself, there's no way I would have even known he existed. But he marketed himself. He put himself out there. And so it doesn't always have to be this grandiose thing. People just have to know you exist. And I needed what he was offering.
That's right.
But more than that, I needed the attitude. I didn't need someone coming in thinking what I might be able to do. And, well, we got this challenge, that. I needed somebody with that kind of confidence that I could be confident when I gave them my hard-earned money that they would. And so, the next morning, the next day, me and this brother met, and we came up with a deal. And but it's because he allowed me to know he existed. If I would have never known he existed, he wouldn't even been on this call right here. Because then when I found out he existed, he knew my daughter. And I was like, my daughter need to call you. we need you on our financial wellness ministry. But by him marketing himself, it opened up doors for new relationships and new opportunities just by him telling people who he is and what he does with confidence.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, brother.
This is so good. I'm getting all type of nuggets. Thank you.
And on the church tip, that's why I'm always telling you all those cards I put out there, all this stuff that we put on social media, it ain't just there just to be there.
That's right.
Florida has to know that we exist, but it knows it when the lieutenants and the soldiers see the vision and just promote it. Everybody you know should know what church you attend, what church you think is an awesome church, an awesome ministry. And then the same goes with your personal endeavors. Folk got to know about it. If it's a secret, your money gonna be secretive too. You got to let folk know about it if you want to grow.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
So that brings me to think what Chris said earlier, that your mouth will control the movement of your money toward you or away from you. So we got to put it out there.
That's a little. It's a little member.
Is that right, Chris?
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
Dr. Cole, you saying that tongue is a little member, but it's powerful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's the tongue is so powerful that you can have all the right principles, and the tongue can cancel all that same stuff out.
Wow.
That's powerful.
Wow. It's true.
You can have the leadership, you can have the vision, you can plant the flag, but if that mouth is negative, it'll dry everything up.
Wow.
Amen.
Wow.
Power in the tongue. Pastor, you preached that not long ago.
It's some good stuff.
Power in the tongue.
Good stuff. I want our community. I need everybody that's watching this. You got to share this, and you got if you got to inbox somebody, Our people need to know this. There's nothing that we can't accomplish. We look at the obstacles. We look at the things that try to hinder us, and yeah, they're there. But there's literally, the Bible says, I can do all things, not if racism doesn't exist, not if obstacles are not. It says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so the obstacles are there to make us stronger. They're not there to stop us. They're there to make so that when I get it, I have more strength because I've had more experience and I've seen more things. And our community needs to know this. And the easiest thing that you can do, we look at the obstacles, the easiest thing that you can do is share it with somebody that you know that's in a tight place. Chris told you. Chris said from 24 to 34, you know, things changed in 10 years. But in 4 years, it's gone far beyond it's ever been. Quickly, drastically. And if you're looking for God to do something quick, God might be needing you to know that he can do something quick. But if you wondering, if you guessing, if you doubting, you slowing up the work.
That's right.
That's right. Brother Chris, before we go, yes, I appreciate the part when you were saying about your educational backgrounds and everything. And then I kind of thought about that, you know, in some times in my life, if we want the same thing, we gonna get the same thing. But if you want different, you got to do different. First thing you have to do, you have to put yourself around like-minded people. You having issues, you don't need to be at that time around a lot of people complaining and still standing their issues. You got to put yourself around positive folk that have ideas and have plans that can mentor you and instead of sitting around complaining. And you just got to change. If you want change, you got to change. And it can happen, because I remember when I went in the military, I didn't have a high school diploma. But when I come out of boot camp, when I got to Germany, they gave me 6 months to get a high school completion. I didn't need but 2 credits. I had back then, you need but 15 credits. I had 13. But in my condition, you know, in the town we're in St. Augustine, man, I had to move quick because I was going downhill with the guys I was running with. Just want to play and have fun, you know. But I went over there and got my high school completion. But my point is, I had to change my environment and I had to be around people that was trying to go somewhere. And not putting anybody down, but I had to change if I want to see change.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's some good stuff, man.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, sir.
This is so good. So I just want to wrap it up and just thank Chris and just highlight one more time just a little bit about him. He gave us so much value today. And so, you know, he is licensed in real estate. And so if you have any needs, I'm sure he could either possibly help you or point you in a direction of somebody who he could refer you to that could serve you well. If you need any hauling, business or personal, 352 Hauling Crew is his business. You can Google it. It's on Facebook as well for junk removal and demolition. And then last but not least, if you know anybody who has their CDL licenses and their truck driver, I think he might be still recruiting and hiring and is available for people who are looking to use their license and drive trucks right now. Is that true? Is that accurate, Chris?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. So he gave value, and I believe we could give value just by knowing what he does. And when we run across anybody who needs it, being able to, you know, send those people in the right direction. Like he talked about being that resource, being that connector. We may not be able to do what somebody needs, but just as we have these events and meeting people who are resource to community, be able to refer and connect so that people can get their needs served. So thank you all for joining. You go to gbjubil.com. You can join our online community. We will be having church this Sunday. We have church every Sunday, 10:45 a.m. Real Talk every Wednesday. So that's tomorrow. Totally should join us. It's a different type of Bible study. It really just is real talk. So thank you all for joining tonight. And then I'm going to hand it over to my dad, Reverend Ronald Ross, to leave any ending statements to close out the meeting. And once again, thank you so much, Chris, for your time. That was very valuable, very impactful. I got in my notes. This is good. So good.
Amen.
All right, wonderful. Wonderful. Again, I appreciate Kiera for doing an amazing job at coordinating our financial wellness ministry to make sure that we're ministering to the whole person, and meeting and providing the resource to make sure that we're financially healthy as individuals. And I want to thank Mr. Chris Harmon for just the wealth of information that he gave us. And everybody that's watching, don't be selfish. Share this with somebody, even if it has to be in a private message. It's on YouTube. You can send it in an email. But then for yourselves, let us practice what we've learned. Make sure we take notes and know the principles and put them in action. So God bless you all and have a wonderful.
Pastor Ron, can I say,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Two quick things. One, thank you as well as Kiera and the entire church body for allowing me to have these few moments with you guys. Also, but right before you close it out, I got to share this one nugget because it's very powerful and it'll bless everybody that uses it. My mentor taught me this, and Pastor Ron was just tapping on it. He told me, he said, Chris, he said, listen, if you would start to develop your leadership skills, he said, people will pay you to be just who you are. And it's a true story. It revolutionized my life. And it's true to this day. People pay me just to be me. And so I want to share that same thing with you. If you will work on your skill set, work on your language, work on how you present yourself to folks, people will pay you just to be who you are. Pastor Ron, back to you.
Yeah, that's powerful.
All right, I got to finish writing it down before I talk, because I'm going to forget for you to be. All right. So perfect. So you all have a wonderful week. Apply these principles. God bless you and have a great one.
Amen. Amen.
And good night. God bless everybody.